Good morning, student. Now, today we are going to move forward with our chapter of Nazism and the rise of Hitler. So, here the topic will be reconstruction. Here we'll be discussing about that how this Hitler reconstructed the economy of the Germany. Now, here the Hitler assigned the responsibility of the economic recovery to the economist Haselmar Schott, who aimed at full production and full employment through a state-funded work creation program. This project produced the famous German superhighways and the people's cars, the Volkswagen. So here, when the Hitler decided to bring back the economy of the Germany back on the track, so what he did, he gave this responsibility into the hands of Zalmar Schott. Zalmar Schott was an economist and he aimed at the full employment level of the economy where everybody who is capable of doing job gets the job. So that is the level of full employment. Now, through that the state funded program started. So the production activities were about to begin in Germany regarding the superhighways which were required and the people's cars, the Volkswagen. So Volkswagen today we see that company, many cars we can see in India also of Volkswagen. So this Volkswagen is a German company and it started at that time during the Second World War and they just tried to bring back the German economy back on the track by the production of these cars. Now in foreign policy also Hitler acquired quick success. He pulled out of the League of Nations in 1933, reoccupied the Rhineland in 1936, and integrated Austria and Germany in 1938 under the slogan "One people, one empire, and one leader." Now here the foreign policy of the success of the Hitler was that he acquired the nations of Austria and Germany. So they integrated means they occupied this Austria and joined Austria with Germany in 1938. The thinking of Hitler was that if there were some people in Austria who used to speak German language, even Hitler belonged to that place, he born over there. So what he did, he gave a slogan that one people, one empire, and one leader should be there. So they just joined Austria with Germany. Now also at the same time they pulled out of the League of Nations. So what is this League of Nations here? In 1933, League of Nations was simply formed to stop these war issues and to create peace and harmony. But later on it was not successful. But Hitler pulled out of this League of Nations because the intention of the Hitler was very clear. He never wanted to be a part of it because in future he wanted a war. Now they also occupied the parts of the Rhineland which was taken away from them in the past. Now he went on the West German-speaking Sudetenland from Czechoslovakia. So here when the meeting was held, so there were different leaders from the different parts who attended that meeting and Germany wanted to occupy this Slovakia. So what this meeting brought for the Germans, the part of the southern land was handed over to the Germany, and they thought that they are not going to occupy this Slovakia, but the intention of the Hitler was to occupy the parts of Slovakia as well and gobbled up the entire country. In all of this, he had the unspoken support of the England, which had constructed the Versailles verdict too hard. Now here, this Germany was having the support of the England, which considered the Treaty of Versailles that a very harsh treaty was been signed on Germany because their territory has been taken away. Compensation was to be paid by them, they were have to demilitarize some of the parts of Germany. So this was very embarrassing, and they considered it. The England considered it as this Treaty of Versailles very harsh on the Germans. So their support was there. So this quick success at home and abroad seemed to reverse the destiny of the country. Now this success was very quick at home. So this foreign policy of Hitler was turning out to be a big success. Now this could have turned the destiny of the Germans in future. Here Hitler did not stop here. Schott has advised Hitler against investing hugely in rearmament as the state still ran on deficit financing. So here we'll have to understand what this word means, rearmament and deficit financing. So deficit financing when is the thing when suppose in your country the expenditures are very high than your income resources. So you are just taking loans from the rest of the world and you are just doing war and spending a lot of money. Rearmament means spending a lot of money on the war goods, making tanks, missiles and all this kind of stuff, bombs. So all war goods, there was heavy investment which has been done. So if you are going to take loan and suppose you are making war goods, so it is not going to bring any kind of good to the people. So this will not bring any kind of welfare for those people. So actually this should not be done. It is not good anyhow that you should spend the money on this war good, because it will not going to bring any kind of direct benefits for the people. So what this economist Short has to say, that he advised Hitler that investing, that you are investing a very huge amount on the production of war goods, so you should stop it, because for that the deficit financing is been taken and economy will be in problem. Now this, he was very intelligent, short, and the cautious people. He was under the category of cautious people. There was another tendency when this Second World War was going on. So at that time, if these people, this German and the Nazis who were supporting the ideology of the Hitler, if they find anyone who is extra intelligent or well educated, so even such a kind of person will be a problem. So either he will be sent to the concentration camp or he will be killed over there. So the cautious people, however, had no place in Nazi Germany. Now Short had to leave. So anyone, if somebody is there who is having knowledge and he tells them that this thing is not right, you will have to make correct everything. So this Nazi Germany, the people who are of the Nazi ideology, they will not tolerate this thing and they will put you in trouble. Now Short has to leave. Now Short is the economist who had to leave now. Now Hitler chose war as a way out of the approaching. Now, what was the Hitler's choice here? That there is only one war. If you may want to make Germany strong, we'll have to just go for war, and then we can get a lot of territory, and we will be able to get as well as resources as possible. Now, in this diagram, we can see the parts of the Germany and the powers cooperating with the Axis. So, Axis were Germany, Italy, and Japan. So they were all in support of the Germany. Now here the territories were under the, in green, you can dark green, this you can see the territories which are under the German occupation. So even Norway, Estonia, Lithuania, Poland, Ukraine, France, Yugoslavia, so many territories were under German occupation here. Even the Italy, who are among the Axis power, they tried to increase their territory. So they were also in support of Germany. They were the Axis power who were against fighting against the Allies. Now resources were to be accumulated to the expansion of the territory. Now if you uh, want to get resources, what you have to do, that was the question here. So Hitler here decided that he will occupy the other territories. Once you get the territory, you get the resources also. Now in September 1939, Germany invaded Poland. Now what happened in 1939? This Germany invaded Poland means they started a war in the Poland. This started a war with the France and England in September 1940. Now because of this, when they started attack in the beginning, Hitler thought that this France and England, nobody is going to react for such a small place. If he'll attack Poland, there will be no problem. But this thing started the war with France and England because they thought that they are not going to do anything. But the intentions of the Hitler was something else. He wanted to occupy those territory. So he started declaring war against this Poland, and because of this the France and England entered the war. Now in September 1940, a tripartite pact was signed between Germany, Italy and Japan. Now here, because of this pact, the Germany, Italy and Japan, they got together and they were called as the Axis power. Here definitely the Germany was the most strong. Italy joined because of this Benito Mussolini, because he was a very good person well known to Hitler, and so he also decided to give support to Hitler. Mussolini and Hitler were of almost same ideology, so that's why that is another thing of the support, because of which Mussolini got this gave his support to the Hitler. Now strengthening Hitler came to be the international power. Now they together just claim Hitler to get some international power. So Hitler grew strong here. Now the puppet regimes supportive of Nazi Germany were installed in a large part of Europe. By the end of 1940, Hitler was at the pinnacle of his power. Now what happened? By the 1940, Hitler got a lot of power, and he was also able to join some parts of the Europe, such as Slovakia and other places. Some were the places in the France. So some parts they established their supportive regimes who will be supporting this Nazis. So Hitler at this time was very strong. Now Hitler now moved to achieve his long-term aim of conquering Eastern Europe. Now what Hitler's long-term goal was to occupy the Eastern Europe. He wanted to ensure food supplies, living space for the Germans. Now why he wanted to fight actually? So what he thought, that if the lot of resources comes to him, then there will be no problem for the food supplies, and also the living space for the German will be vast. So the German peoples of the Germany would be able to live their lives in other parts which will be occupied. So he attacked the Soviet Union in 1941. Now Soviet Union today you can just understand as Russia. At that time it was called as Soviet Union because it was a group of a union. Now in 1941 the Germans attacked the Soviet Union. In the historical blunder, Hitler exposed the German Western Front to the British, okay, and aerial bombing at the Eastern Front to the powerful Soviet armies. Now what happened here? The west part of the Western Front was fighting with the British aerial bombing. So at both the ends of Germany, the this Hitler declared or started the war. So on the west, the British was being taken care of their aerial bombings, and on the right side in the Eastern Front, the fight was going on with the Soviet armies. Just like as we can see here. So here in this part, on the top part, so this was the place where they were fighting, because the Poland area was occupied, and then they started this part of Russia which was known as the Soviet Union. So they started attacking there as well, and on the other side they were fighting with the aerial bombing with the other other parts. Now here, when the fight was going on both the sides with this British and Soviet armies, now this Soviet armies is known as the Red Army. Why they used to call red? Because they actually these are the people which used to wear a cap which is of red color. So Soviet Red Army they used to call themselves. Now it indicated inflicted a crushing and humiliating defeat on the Germany at Stalingrad. Now what happened in the Battle of Stalingrad? The Germany was been badly defeated by the Soviet Unions. The reason was there was some good sharpshooters, or you can say snipers, with this Soviet Union. So now, because of them, they were just making them like heroes in the through the help of media, or they were just trying to scare the people of Germany that they are very strong, and they will be hiding somewhere, and from a long distance they can shoot you. So this also created a fear in the mind of the German soldiers that there is no chance to beat such kind of shooters. So they got defeated at the Stalingrad. Now, after this, the Soviet Red Army hounded on the retreating German soldiers until they reached the heart of Berlin. Now, what happened? Now, this Soviet Red Army, this grew really strong, and now these Germans were getting scared of this army, and they chased them till they reached the heart of the Britain. So, again, here see these Germans, they in the beginning they occupied these areas of Poland. They entered almost here till this part. But when the Stalingrad came, at Stalingrad, what they did, this all these snipers, they scared these German soldiers, and then when they did like that, what happened? All these things hounded them. They got really scared German into the people of Germany, and they dragged them back to the Germany at Berlin. Now, establishing Soviet hegemony over the entire Eastern Europe for the half of the century thereafter. And these armies of this Soviet Union, they stayed there almost half a century in the Europe. Now, meanwhile, the USA had resisted involvement in the war. Now, till here, the USA was not entering in the war. Now it was unwilling to once again face all such kind of economic problem that the First World War has caused. So these people still remember, the USA remembered that the what they have faced in the situation of the First World War. Said so they were not they never wanted this all these things to happen again. All this economic crisis and this problem economic problem, they just don't want it to happen. So but it could not stay out of the war for long. But USA was not fighting, but it was not possible for the USA to stay out of the war for a very long time. Now Japan was expanding its power in the east. Now Japan was also expanding its power in the east. It had occupied the French Indochina. Now French Indochina was occupied by these Japanese and was planning to attack on US naval bases in the Pacific. When Japan extended its support to the Hitler and bombed the US base at the Pearl Harbor, the US entered the Second World War. Now what happened? This USA never wanted, but what this Japanese the leaders were in talk, and it was asked by the official leaders that not to enter in the war, not to support this Hitler, but these Japanese, they attacked the US naval bases, and that place is known as the Pearl Harbor, where these Japanese bombed the planes and aircraft of the US armies. They actually wanted to do it because they just wanted to destroy and make America weak about this. Now this uh, led to the disputes, and because of this, the America also entered in the Second World War. Now this war ended in the May 1945 with Hitler's defeat. Now in 1945, what happened? These Germans army, they got defeated and Hitler got defeated here. Now the USA dropped a bomb on the Hiroshima and Japan. Now what they did here in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, these areas, the US sent an aircraft which was carrying and loaded with the atom bombs, and they dropped that bomb on this Hiroshima. After this, the world war came to an end because such a weapon was never used at that time, and when this weapon was used, this was um, a tremendous, it brought tremendous destruction for the Japanese. So all these things, because of such a kind of thing, in many people died because of that atom bomb. All these things led to the end of the Second World War. It was very furious to see that site. If you are having some internet connection, you can go and look at that old clips of that bomb blast, atom bomb of which was dropped on Japan in Hiroshima. It is very scary. Now From this brief account of what happened in the Second World War, we now turn to the Helmut father in the story, a story of the Nazi criminality during the World War. Now, what happened when this war was ended? Now, there was something else which was going on in the Germany area. Means inside Germany, one side the war was fought, and the other side they were taking care or executing the peoples or killing the mass level of people were being killed, like Jewish, like gypsies, this all the social democrats and all these people who were against the Nazis, they were all been killed. So mass killing was also going on. So we are going to learn about all that in the next video. Okay, till then, thank you.